Hello and welcome to the Six Sales podcast from Cannes in 2025. We are talking to the movers and shakers in media and ad tech about the conversations that matter to our industry at the moment and in this year. I'm delighted to be joined in the InMobi cafe by Kunal from InMobi. InMobi? Kunal, how are you?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Getting InMobi. Can I get InMobi in there one more time, maybe? InMobi. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, have you had a good week so far?
It's been a great week. It's been a big week for us. We've been quite busy launching our B2C experiences, and I can't complain at all.
Yeah. So for those watching rather than listening, we got Glance TV, which I know we're going to talk about, but it keeps getting my attention. So if I start wandering over there, that's your fault, right? You created that.
Well, that's the idea.
Yes, indeed. But I'm not being rude. At least if I am, it's by your own creation.
100%.
So a lot of the conversations we've been having this week have been around attention, around AI,
right.
Influencer marketing, retail media. What sort of conversations have you been having this week?
So it's funny because we've been having conversations across all of those dimensions, but it's from sort of our point of view, right? Like I said, we're launching a couple of our B2C experiences. One of Cannes was our big activation for our commerce experience. And it's also sort of our teaser time for our AI experience on TV. And you mentioned attention, right? I was just having a chat with Mike Follett at Lumen. He and I have talked a lot over the years about how difficult it is to do true attention measurement. And we were talking about the app ecosystem. And now we have the CTV experience. And he's like, this is harder, but even more relevant. And so, we were having that sort of a chat. And we absolutely believe in that because our experience is on the ambient screen, right? I was talking about this with somebody. Like, you think of the real estate of a TV in your house. Mm-hmm. More often than not, you will have an inactive time on it. It's not inactive because you're not in the room. It's just because, you're busy looking at your phone, do something else, and the TV's in the background, and it turns to a screensaver. That's like dead real estate for brands, even though there are people in the room who want to engage, but there's no reason to engage with a screensaver. And so we're trying to change that with our content that will come instead of a screensaver and let people actually engage with things that are, more for the moment.
Okay, so we'll get a shot of that later, and hopefully by the time that I say this, you'll be able to see what that looks like in action. But for those that are listening rather than watching, essentially what we're talking about here is we're talking about a screensaver when the TV's not being used to actually watch a show. Images that capture your attention might be famous people, lovely food shot that made me hungry earlier I saw as I arrived here, and having a brand message there, perhaps with a QR code or some other way to engage further should you wish to. But it's a kind of very large, bright piece of branding in your living room, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. Our goal is the screensavers is like, 2000s. People had them on their desktop. Nobody wants a screensaver anymore. If you have it, nobody's, necessarily going to say, wow, this is a great screensaver. So let's ignore screensaver for a second. The idea is there is that dwell time. And if I can bring you engaging content, whether it is, a food recipe, whether it is, the latest news from, the US Open golf tournament from last weekend, whether it is from game from last night, that's more for the moment, in the moment, for the user who's sitting in the room to actually engage with it. That's the idea, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like, can I just swap out something just because there's a screen in there?
Okay.
Right? And so even on this screen, you can see that there is a know more button. There's something like a call to action that you can actually engage with. Do you want to know more? Do you want to, download something? Do you want to look at the recipe on a website? While you're doing that, you can also notice there's this ticker on the side, which is for sports. Fully adaptable. You can decide which sports. Right now it's MLB season. So somebody, who set up this demo put up that.
Yeah.
But you can change it to NFL. You can change it to NBA. And as we roll out into each country,
and the user can customize that widget themselves.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. And as you roll this out in different countries, the sports that matter in that country would be an option here. Right. But now this is a much more engaging screen. And when you think of an ad in this setup, it doesn't feel like an ad. It's just one more piece of content.
It's a piece of art,
right?
Yeah.
And it's seamless. It's more native. And that's the goal with this experience.
Yeah, I could imagine that'd be like, I don't know if you can have like live train times or something like that. That'd be super handy because sometimes you're at home, you're not watching the TV because you're kind of getting ready to go out and you're busy and stuff, and you want to know whether the train down the road is actually going to come, or if it's not, then you have another half an hour and stuff like that. So
honestly, it's not something that we want to ever restrict to. In the end, a lot of this matters on the partners who want to enable it. So, if we can get, British Rail to give us that API, 100% you would see that.
yeah,
Because it matters to the people who live around an area to see what the times are.
Yeah.
100%.
yeah. Oh, really interesting. So we talked about attention, and you mentioned Mike there.
Yeah.
How do you go about measuring the attention to something like this? It's quite tricky, right?
It is tricky. There are different ways to do this, right? We've already run a couple of studies, and we want to enhance that, and that's why the conversation with Lumen as well. The idea remains, somebody is in the room. How do you do it in a way without violating their privacy to check, are they in the room? How much are they looking at the TV? How much are they using their remote to engage with it? And we've set up panels around it and given people the option to look at this glance activation. And so that's sort of the idea, because TV, unlike a mobile phone, doesn't allow you to actually use the internal mechanism to see how much did you pick up the phone or not.
Right. And have you done that test yet? Do you have any?
We've done one
on
test
that?
yet.
Yeah.
We're ready to roll that out next week as official results.
You can't talk about that yet.
I can, but I'm saying it's one of those things that we are just enhancing, and honestly, we will not stop. There's a study that we wanted to get done so that we know what we're walking in with as an engagement, right? And that study has revealed that engagement on this content is just below in-stream ads or a pre-roll ad, which is pretty remarkable because people think of pre-roll as the epitome of your engagement. The reality is, you switched on.
It's interruptive though as well, isn't it?
It's interruptive, and most people actually are like, "Oh, fine, I'll just wait for that to get over." Right? But it works as a format because enough people still do care, and so this is just below that. But our goal is, that was one study. We want to do multiple studies across demographic, across geographies, and give brands the full confidence that this is an environment they want to be in, because this will bring scale in a whole differentiated way.
Yeah, we were talking off air just before, weren't we, about when I worked at the Telegraph on the launch of Telegraph TV, which is basically video on demand. It was, I think, 4 or 5 times a day you would update the latest news in a video format. We looked at streaming that on the big screens at the like London Victoria Station, Waterloo, etc., etc. And the idea being is that there are moments of dwell time in a consumer's life that they can't plan for. It's very difficult to understand when they will happen, but they will happen. So one such moment is when you're waiting for a train and you're looking at the sea of orange text, it's going delayed. You're like, oh, and then you kind of glance to the side, you go, I can get the latest news if I turn my Bluetooth on. This seems like a similar concept. It's in the room. Nobody's planning to go and look at the glance TV, but they will look at it because it's there. It's the power of the mute TV. I was 100%. Mentioning Ben Elton. For anyone old as me, they might remember Ben Elton, a stand-up comedian. He was talking about the power of a mute TV could essentially stop riots if you just dangled them down, because if they're there, you can't not look at them. So I think it sounds like a similar concept to that.
Yeah, I mean, right, like me, everybody needs a focal point, and if the content is engaging, there is no better focal point in a room than the biggest screen possible, which is your TV.
And I just want to make it very clear, you haven't paid me to say this, and there's no commercial relationship here whatsoever, but it's in the corner of my eye, and I'm talking to you, and this is a really interesting conversation, but it keeps changing.
And then you want to watch it.
Yeah.
That's literally the idea.
So we talked about attention there. AI has been another massive topic this week, and I see in the bottom corner there that a lot of these images are created by AI. How does that customize at the user level? How does that work?
It's meant to customize at the user level. Eventually, we want to customize at the household level, and we're working on some really cool tech that I'll tell you in a second. But the idea is, when you unbox your TV, or if you download the experience on this, you have the option to customize it to your interest. You could tell, hey, these are things that I care about, I think I don't want to see. And it'll keep learning over time as you also engage with it. So if you use your remote on it, it'll keep learning what things do you care about. So every new content that it generates is going to get even more personalized to you.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
wouldn't it be cool if you could do that to attention? If you could say, well, whenever you get a picture of, I don't know, Neymar on the screen,
Yeah.
you always look at that for longer. So we're going to give you more Neymar. Like.
If I could do that, I would 100% do that. But the next best answer is, if there's a picture of Neymar, it's not going to be only a picture. It's not a screensaver. There will be some content around it.
Yeah.
And if you engage with it, I'm definitely capturing that.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, from our point of view, the way people will engage is going to go up dramatically. And so we will get enough data points that I'm quite confident will help personalize a lot. But we're actually experimenting with a really cool tech now, where if you are in your home, obviously this is very privacy safe because it's not meant to be for identification. But if you're in your home, we can link your phone to TV, and you walk out of the room, right? It does what it does. You walk back in, it'll immediately switch to your interest because it just captured your phone in that vicinity.
So that's kind of a way of understanding if there are people in the room or not when basically Glance TV's on, right? So you can tell if they're coming in closer
that's
or
as
away.
deterministic as it gets.
Yeah.
But we want to use it to personalize even more.
Yeah.
Like if you and
based on the apps
and
I have
your
on my
partner,
phone, essentially.
Yeah. If you and your partner are in the room, pretty sure we'll personalize to your partner. But more importantly, if the two of you are coming into the room at different times, it should show personalized content to you.
So that could be like super cool. If I've been on, I don't know, if I've been on the Sky Sports app, looking at Liverpool versus Man United, and then I come into the room and there's something about Liverpool Man United, and that's going to be kind of feel relevant to me in the moment, right?
It will be. I think in the end we want you to give the permissions. We're not going to come, encroaching on your privacy. That's a very hard no from our side.
Okay.
But once we have the right permissions, we absolutely would want it to be your experience.
Yeah.
This is not a generic experience. We want to make it your experience.
Yeah. And could it? I mean, it could potentially, if you're then linking to the phones, you could even link it to the camera roll. So you could say, do you want your camera roll playing on Glance TV? So it's your own pictures playing on
We
Glance
already
TV.
have that.
Oh, you do that
It's
already?
an option. Instead of content, if you want to switch to, let's say, your Google Photos,
right,
you can do that. It all depends on how people want to use their TV.
Yeah.
What feels more natural to them, right? Our commerce experience that we'll talk about it some other day maybe, but our commerce experience is very mobile first, but we've linked that also to TV, and you can have the same experience built on TV instead of the content. It really is about how do you want to use this real estate in your house, and for brands to recognize that this is being used more often than they recognize.
Yeah. Very interesting. So what other exciting conversations have you been having in Cannes this week?
So from our point of view, like I was saying, the commerce side is a big one. That's also, a very generative AI first sort of an inspiration platform that we've built for commerce. And that was most of where my time went. But this TV is a teaser that we've been giving to a lot of the ecosystem partners. Like I said, we want to launch this, and we'll probably do in the next couple of months. But when we launch, I want all the things in place. Attribution is in place, attention is in place, viewability is in place. We want brands to feel comfortable because this is net new way of imagining TV, connected TV.
And who do you see buying this? Do you think it's going to be TV buyers? Do you think it's going to be digital buyers?
So the experience is already being discussed with operating system owners and OEMs.
From a brand point of view, though, would it be media agency, TV teams, or would it be digital teams, or both?
I think
anyone with a budget.
Well, I think it is going to be. Most agencies now have a CTV desk of its own, so it's definitely an extension of the CTV, budget. But I do think this is going to start pulling in the digital out of home budget, because this is blurring the boundary of what is digital out of home, right? And we've had some interesting conversations with some companies who are actually putting TVs out there, like whether, let's say, railway stations or pubs or airports. And they see this and they're like, actually, let's put this because this is content that everybody will engage with versus the 24/7 reel of, despondent news that everybody is exposed to.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you could link through the mobile phone from Glance TV to out of home, you could deliver what Tesco in the UK call from sofa to store. So in retail media, it's obviously a really exciting, growing space at the moment. Nick Ashley at Tesco, who's been on the podcast, talks about this idea of advertising from sofa to store. So from sofa to store. So you might be sat at home watching TV and see something for a cereal, like Kellogg's cornflakes, let's say, and then you go out of home and then you're targeted with out of home for Kellogg's cornflakes, and then you walk into the Tesco and at the end of the aisle there's Kellogg's cornflakes, and then in the aisle there's Kellogg's cornflakes, and then you end up buying it and you get that feedback loop because you buy it with your Tesco Club card. So this could be a really great way of kind of starting that sofa to store journey. And if it could link, would that work, sort of linking the user through the mobile phone to out of home as well?
Look,
one day maybe?
The tech is not the roadblock here. It's all the right other reasons of user privacy, and can we actually pull out enough ROAS from it? The tech exists. It just has to be worth it, right? In a privacy safe environment. So I would actually say there's another world that Nick should imagine. Instead of sofa to store, how would I do sofa and delivery of Kellogg's on the sofa? Right? Like you go to a lot of these Asian countries, they have this concept of quick commerce now, 10 minutes delivery. People don't have 10 minutes to go to a store necessarily all the time, right? It takes me 10 minutes to walk from here to the first set. But if I can get you stuff in 10 minutes, I've just reduced your need to go to the store. And for Nick to then worry about all those steps of going from sofa to the store. Right, so that's another way of imagining this.
Yeah, maybe. And I could imagine like Deliveroo and Uber Eats and companies like that would like to be sort of passively there around meal times, just to sort of kind of remind you, let's order food.
I was in back to back. I was in Indonesia, India, and then China. Every one of those places, I could get anything I wanted in like 10 minutes, which makes a very jarring experience from a TV to a gallon of milk in 10 minutes. It's just but that's how. And Uber's in there, right? They're also trying to figure this out.
Everything's speeding up, isn't it? I remember the first time that I ordered, when Amazon first launched in the UK, and I ordered a book and it came the next day and I was blown away. How did they do that? But now that's quite slow. You can get same day now.
Same day.
It's
you
insane.
pick a slot, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
it's
incredible.
9 a.m.
So getting towards the end of Cannes Week, are there any other conversations we haven't had yet that you think are particularly interesting this year?
Well, it's interesting to me. Well, I don't know how your users would think, listeners would think about this, but I think last year, everybody's talking about AI is going to take away every single job possible. And this year, a lot of companies, including us, have shown how AI truly complements human creativity. And I've seen 3 or 4 experiences where I'm like, that would not have been possible without AI. But like, I'd be damned if that would be created by only machines. That's not even possible. And I find that marriage of AI and human creativity truly coming across this year in really cool products. And I'm really excited for the industry for that.
Yeah, for sure. Seems like a good place to end. Thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated. Thank you for the lovely air-conditioned hosting. It's boiling out there, so it's been very nice to sit here in the cool for a bit, and really interesting talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.